Guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. My name is Alicia, and if you're a returning subscriber, then welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a how I studied for fundamentals, and I'm basically going to be giving you guys any tips and tricks that helped me out throughout fundamentals, because I know it's not easy. It's your first nursing class. So if you guys do want to know more about how I study for fundamentals, then please keep on watching. Okay, you guys, so fundamentals is going to be a class that you're going to be taking your first semester of nursing school. For me, since I am part-time, I took this class in my second of 8 semesters. So if you are new to my channel, I am in a part-time BSN nursing program here in my area. I don't say what school I go to or where I live due to privacy reasons, so I'm hoping you guys can understand that. I'll be telling you guys where I live and what college I went to once I graduated from the program. So I'm hoping you guys are understanding on that part, because I know I get questions and comments on like what school I went to and stuff like that, so just wanted to put that out there. So fundamentals, for me, it was 6 credits. It can vary from your school. So for me, it was 6 credits. It was lecture and it was clinical. So due to COVID, unfortunately, my clinical group did not go to clinical. Some of my other classmates, got the chance to go to clinical almost at the end of the semester, but due to COVID, we did not go to clinical. So we had our clinicals online, and I'll be talking more about clinical, later on in this video. So fundamentals, like how I said, it was a 6 credit course. We met once a week online on Zoom. So my fundamentals course was all online. We did not have in-person classes at all. It was online. So like I said, we met once a week for 3 hours online via Zoom. Our instructor would, go over any of the materials. She provided us with PowerPoints. So, I would download those PowerPoints. The first half of the semester, I would download the PowerPoint into my laptop. Then when she was going over the material in class, I would just, write down any notes that she was going over during class. And basically for my first exam, I would just go off of her PowerPoints. Like, I wouldn't even read the textbook. Until my second exam, I decided to read my textbook, and my exam grade improved drastically. So if you're gonna be starting, like I said, gonna be starting fundamentals, I would recommend for you guys to read your textbook. I know a lot of people tell you not to read your textbook because it's so much reading, and you have other classes, but you can probably break down your readings, and so you won't have to be reading 40 pages during a day. Like, you can break it down. I got a tip from my nursing success advisor to basically read for 2 to 3 hours the most during the week, and just focus on that reading and do your notes while you're reading. It really depends on how you study and learn. So this is a book that I used. It's called Fundamentals of Nursing. It's by Used. So I got this on Amazon. I'll probably be linking down all the resources and books down below in my description box for those that are interested. You guys are probably wondering why there's so many sticky tabs. But I organized my book by my exams. Yes, by my exams. So once you guys receive your syllabus, you probably receive it a couple days before your semester to start. Usually for our school, they let us go into campus a week before our semester starts. So you have access to that syllabus. You can organize it. What I did was I would organize it by exams. So when I first started, I just had these sticky notes first, and then once I was done with my first exam, I would grab another set of sticky notes and organize it. And then once I was in my final, I would go back and add the rest of the chapters that our instructor was going to go over and that were going to be on the final. So you can do it all in the beginning, and then have like a little cheat sheet on your book or something, like first exam is this color, second exam is this color, third exam is this color, so you can know. So when you're studying or you have to review a chapter, you can easily just see on the tab like what chapter you you have to go over, and like you can easily access the chapter, or you can just put like, you know, the numbers. For me, I put the title of that chapter, so I didn't really put like the number of the chapter, which I would really, you know, advise, because if your chapter says, oh, chapter 6, you can be like, oh, chapter 6 is right here, and you can easily access it. But I didn't put the numbers. But you know, if you're going to be using this method, I would say put the title and put the numbers, so it can be, so you won't have to be opening the book, going to the content page and trying to figure out what page that chapter is in. So that is one helpful tip, is to organize your textbook. Another tip is, like I said, read your textbook. I know it's so much reading and you don't like reading, but I found an app that helped me. I didn't really know about this app until like a couple weeks after my fundamentals semester. I saw it on TikTok. I think it was like another nursing, it was another nurse that's on there. She talked about this app, and then I started to see other people also talking about this app. The app is called Focus app. I wish I could show you guys, but it's on my phone, and that's what I'm recording this video on. So unfortunately I cannot show you guys what it looks like, but just on the app store, search a Focus app, Focus Keeper, and you know, it will pop up. So basically what Focus Keeper is, this video is not sponsored by them or none of that, but it's a resource that helped me, and I feel like I could study for hours and not feel burnt out. My first semester of nursing school, I would always get burnt out easily. I wouldn't have any motivation to study, but after me using this app this semester, I would feel motivated enough to study and get through the material that I needed to get through during the week. So how this app works, it's basically divided into 25 minutes. So the first 25 minutes you're going to be doing your studying, then you get a 5-minute break, 25 minutes continue until you get a break, which is like around 25 to 30 minutes. You can, you know, adjust it on the app. I really recommend for you guys to get the app if you're going to be starting nursing school, because if you really need to study for 12 hours just because, you know, have your schedule works, then I would really recommend that app. But you know, everybody works differently. People are able to study for 2 hours and not feel burnt out. But for me, for my first semester of nursing school, when I started and I didn't even know about the app, I would study between 1 and 2 hours and I would be already burnt out. So like how I said, download the app. It is a lifesaver. Another resource that helped me was this Fundamental Success Q&A textbook. Yes, this textbook right here you need to buy. You can either buy it, or I will link it down below in the description box for free. So I found this book, I got this book on OfferUp a long time ago. I know it's a different edition, but it doesn't really matter, because you know, there's practice questions, and once you're starting nursing school, you're going to have to get yourself familiarize yourself with NCLEX style questions. So I will have this ebook linked down below. It's gonna be on my blog for free. So if you don't want to buy it, save yourself $30, then you know, you can get a free copy. But yes, I use this textbook, and basically it has a ton of practice questions, and I would do the practice questions once I was done reading the textbook. So you guys can see here, it was like around 30 to 40 questions. Some were fill in the blanks, some were select all the apply. I would do all of them, and it gives you the rationales, which is what you need. So if you missed one of the questions, you can go here to the rationale page, and then you can figure out what you missed, because you need to know like what you missed and be able to understand why you missed it. And make sure you guys read the questions carefully. Read the questions carefully, because they try to trick you when it would come to that. Another resource that I used was this textbook. So this textbook is basically the study guide of my textbook. So when I bought this, I didn't use this for my first exam, you know, because it was like a lot of fill in the blank, a lot of select all the apply, and I wouldn't really use it. I didn't use it for my first exam at all. I only used this Fundamental Success book, but I started to use this once I was starting to study for my second exam, and I feel like that's what helped me, because I would do practice questions from this textbook, and then I would go here and do fill in the blank, select all the apply, and I did perfectly well, and I feel like it helped me. But yes, this is also like a study book, like how I said. It has a lot of fill in the blank, a lot of select all the apply, and I know what you guys are probably like, oh my god, I just like doing multiple choice. But once you're in nursing school, they're probably gonna throw in the fill in the blank. They're gonna be throwing in some short essay questions in your exams, gonna be throwing some case study questions in your exams. Our instructor, the first 2 exams, she threw in a case study, she threw in some fill in the blank, select all the apply. So the more practice questions you do, and if it's fill in the blank, you guys need to practice and do practice questions. So I would recommend for you to get the study guide version of your textbook, and of course to get this book to help you with practice questions, and do the practice questions in your textbook at the end of the chapter. Your book should come with practice questions, even if it's just 10 review questions. Do them, because you know, the more practice questions you do, the more you familiarize yourself with English style questions. So yes, get those 2 books, start doing practice questions, and you'll be good. I would recommend for you guys to watch Registered RN. So our second exam was on ABGs and fluid and electrolytes. Yes, fluid and electrolytes. You guys are probably like, oh my god, I thought we didn't have to know about fluid and electrolytes or ABGs once we take med-surg. But no. For us, for my instructor, we just had to know like the numbers. When it would come for me, like having to learn all of that, I basically studied everything of fluid and electrolytes. But we just had to know the numbers, and you know, wish someone told me that, but I kind of like, you know, know a little bit more about fluids and electrolytes, so when I take med-surg, I'll be able to understand it, because I spent so much time studying fluid and electrolytes when we just had to know the numbers. So I would say memorize those numbers, write them down on a whiteboard, tell them, say them, make notes, make a little cheat sheet, so you know, you can just be able to write them down in a whiteboard without having to look at your notes, because you probably have to know those numbers, because when you're going to be doing your clinical paperwork, you are for sure going to be having to know those numbers and know like what they mean and stuff like that, and what to look out for when you're doing your clinical paperwork. ABGs, there was a YouTube video, I'll try to see if I can find it, that helped me basically understand the basics of ABGs. We didn't really have to like, you know in depth, but you know, I watched YouTube videos, and then I did a practice problem, and I feel like it helped me. So if you guys want, I don't know if I should share my notes on ABGs and fluid and electrolytes, but I'll see if, you know, I could throw in some free notes for you guys, but we'll see if I do or not. Just look out in my blog if I do. Lab values, like how I said, memorize them, write them down, because you're going to have to know them by heart, because once you go to your next semester, like, instructors expect you to know them by heart, and also your clinical instructors are going to tell you that you need to know them. So another thing is study guides. Does your instructor provide study guides? Some instructors do provide you with study guides, some do not. Some are just like, I'm not going to give you a study guide because you're just going to study that, when you should be reviewing all the other chapters. Our instructor, luckily, she was nice enough to give us a study guide, but it was only 50% of the material that was on the study guide. So, you know, we still had to read the textbook and stuff like that, look at the PowerPoints. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say. Study. So when should you study? So how I study personally is, for my first exam, like how I said, I just studied the PowerPoints. I didn't get the grade that I wanted to get, but for my second exam, I did practice questions from this study guide. I did more practice questions. I read the textbook. I used the app to help me read the textbook. I watched Registered RN on YouTube, and I did her practice questions on her website over that material. I feel like it helped me so much. And then I would write down my notes. I have here my binder, my lovely binder, that I will show you guys how I organized it. And my notes, I would do notes. I would write down my notes. I know a lot of people type them, but every person works differently. Some people like to type their notes and they're able to study off of that, but for me, I have to write down my notes. So now on to clinical. So you guys are wondering, like, how is clinical? It was like how I said, mine was not in person, mine was online via vSIMs. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with vSIMs. It's basically the point. You do need like an access code to be able to access those vSIMs. But you guys are probably like scared, like, how do I do a care plan, or like, are they gonna help you do a care plan? Our instructor, she didn't really go in depth about how to do a care plan. I struggled like the first four care plans because I didn't know what my instructor wanted. She wasn't really so clear about it. She didn't really teach us what she wanted, so I learned by myself. I had to watch YouTube videos. And then I would use the nursing diagnosis handbook. That really didn't really help me so much. The number one website that I would recommend for nursing care plans is nursealiciaa.com. So if you guys do not know what nursealiciaa.com is, you guys need to familiarize yourself with that website, because that website is going to help you out throughout your the rest of nursing school. It helped me out so much with nursing care plans because everything was on that website. And I would just go off of that. You also want to make sure you have a drug guide book. For us, we had an app, so I would just type up the website and I would have it side by side. So I would use that. Like how we said, we did vSIMs. So for us, for the vSIMs, we had to get an 80% on our pre-quiz, 85% on our post-quiz, and on the vSIM. So and then I had to do some documentation questions that were required for that vSIM. So yeah, so basically for our care plans, we had to do med cards. So where like how I said, where I would get my information from would be Nursing Central. So I don't know if you guys use that app, but I do. I paid for that in my nursing tuition, so I get access to that, and everything that I need to know about a certain medication is on there. So that's how I would do my cards. Whatever I couldn't find regarding that medication on Nursing Central, then I would just look it up. A tip that I can give out to you guys is to have a document of all those medications from your clinical, because some of those medications are going to pop up. Then you will start noticing that oh, didn't I give that medication to the patient that I had last week. So you would already have those med cards saved in a Word doc all together, and then you can easily just copy and paste it, and you won't have to waste time doing a new med card when you already had that. So that's like a tip that I would recommend for you guys to do, is to save all your med cards all together. So if you need to look for aspirin, you already have that med card done. You would just need to input like whatever is missing, and you won't have to waste several hours doing your med cards. Another thing is, since I had a vSIM, I would just take pictures of the whole scenario, like the S-bar, the lab values, if they had x-rays, what was the order, I would take pictures, and then I would have those pictures saved on my phone. And when I was doing the vSIM, I could just look at that. I know on vSIM, like, you can just access the order, you can access the file, and like it tells you. But once you're doing your care plans, you want to make sure you have all the information written down. I would write it down in a piece of paper, like everything that I did, like my full head to toe assessment. I would always do a full head to toe assessment on my patient, and then I would kind of know what kind of questions to ask the patient. So keep that in mind. Take pictures, because when you're doing your nursing care plan, I don't know if you can go back to your vSIM. I know for me, it would make you redo it again, and I wasn't going to redo it again when I had already gotten an 85% and above. so that's why I would take pictures. So for our clinical, like how I said, we had to do an S-bar. That was separate. You guys are probably like wondering like what is an S-bar? S-bar, if you guys took health assessment, you probably know what it is. But for us, once we had to do an S-bar for fundamentals clinical, it was more in depth. And you know, I had to practice so much because in health assessment they really didn't really teach us so much in depth. But now in fundamentals they do, like what they expect and you know what you should do. Or probably, I don't know if I should include like an example of an S-bar. Let me know down below in the comments if you guys would like to see that, and I'll be more than happy, you know, to do like a example of an S-bar and like, you know, any tips that I can give out to you guys. We also had to do a concept map, which is basically your nursing diagnosis. And like how I said, if you need nursing diagnosis, I would just use the nursing diagnosis handbook. I probably use that book like 2 to 3 times. I use nurse labs more, and I know it's tricky trying to do a nursing care plan in the beginning, but I would say to ask for help. I had to go to a tutor and ask them for help, and she helped me out a lot. I had to ask my instructor for help, and like how I said, I watched YouTube video. I had watched a certain YouTube video. I'll probably like link down the video that I watched for nursing care plans. You also have to do concept maps. So basically concept maps is the pathophysiology, the risk factors, the signs and symptoms, the interventions and stuff like that. For the concept map, I would go off of the point. So if you guys do not know the point, once you have access to course point, there is a section. I'll probably include like a little clip of me like going into the point, so I can show you guys like how to figure out like how to do a concept map, like because everything, if you have course point, then you have your concept map already done because there is information already on there. But for my concept map, if that information wasn't on the course point, then I would just go on Google and then I would just search up the pathophysiology. Basically, for this whole entire clinical, we did have a simulation. Probably make like a whole video recording everything about simulation, you know, how to prepare and stuff like that. For us, it wasn't a grade for simulation, but I did learn a lot. So for nursing care plans, it would, to do everything, the vSim, all the documentation that was required, it would take me around like 3 to 4 hours, sometimes 6 hours, because it was so much information. And our instructor was really picky. She was really hard on us, but I feel like I learned so much from that instructor because she really pushed us to, you know, write a good care plan. So I thank her for that. After struggling so much in that class, the first 3 to 4 care plans, I passed when she did my evaluation. Okay, now on to proctored. I still have like another page. So proctored, so basically what is a proctored ATI? Basically it's an exam that you take at the end of the semester, and it's regarding everything that you have learned from fundamentals. One tip that I can give out to you guys is to read your ATI book the beginning of the semester. The beginning of the semester. Yes, trust me, you guys. There's 58 chapters, and when you have finals coming up, you have other things going on, you have clinical, you won't have really time to sit down and study. So I would say to study early. I studied at the end, which I kind of regret because I just procrastinated on this proctored and I wasn't really so much worried about it. But if you want to get a good score, I would recommend for you guys to read the textbook by whatever material you're going over in class, and whatever material they didn't go over from the ATI book, I would just set out a study schedule to review that material. So if you're going to be going over vital signs your first week of nursing school, go over the vital sign chapter in the ATI book and in your textbook. So yeah, another thing is to do practice adaptive quizzes on ATI. Those are free. There's around 400 questions for fundamentals, so make sure you go through all those questions once your proctored is coming up. Another thing is YouTube. I would recommend Kathy Parks. All her videos are similar to her famous fundamentals flashcards. Literally because, you know, I got them from someone else, and unfortunately I'm not able to share those cards with you because I don't want to get in trouble. So I would just say watch her videos and make sure you type whatever she is saying, because I had the cards and then I was watching the videos and I noticed that she literally went over everything that was on her cards. So if you're not able to find those cards on online, then I would recommend for you guys to watch her videos and just put the captions and write down everything that she's saying, because everything that she says on her videos are from her flashcards. You didn't hear that from me, but yeah. Okay, so once your proctored is coming up, so you're going to be taking your practice A and B exams. Once your proctored is coming up, your instructors will probably be like, oh, those are two, you have to get an 80% or above. Those practice exams were really easy compared to the actual proctored exam. You didn't hear it from me, but yes, those are really easy. You'll probably get passing scores. Make sure once you do those practice exams, you do the study review, and study the chapters that you missed. Study the chapters that you missed. Do practice questions. Do the adaptive quizzes online. Trust me, and only focus on those chapters that you missed. Go back. You guys have free access to the ebook, or if you already bought the textbook, then you know, go read those chapters and watch Kathy Parks. There is this other individual on YouTube that she would also go over the chapters. Are probably like somewhere around here. Say put her username. If not, I'll link it down below in the description box. You guys can also watch her and watch Kathy Parks. They were both amazing. So the levels, I know everyone's so worried about the levels that they're like, oh my god, I want to get a level 3. You guys didn't hear from me either. You're going to be retaking this proctored exam on your final semester of nursing school. So if you get a level 2 or 3, just know that you're going to be retaking it. If you get a level 1 or below a level 1, don't stress yourself out. My school, I found out that we are going to be taking these ATI proctors again in our final semester. So if you get a level 1, don't stress out so much about it, because it's going to be finals week. You're going to be stressing out. Because I was so worried about what I got, and I told my instructor and she didn't get back to me. But I heard one of my classmates told me that we were going to retake these proctored exams, so don't worry about it on what level you get. I know so many people are like, oh my god, I need to get a level 30 because I just need to get a level 3 because I want that 100%. Of course, it's going to help you grade, but how many points is the ATI proctored worth on your grade? Does your ATI proctor count towards your exams, or is that just a separate grade? For us, it was a separate grade. I think it was only like 10% of our grade. So that's all I'm gonna say. Do the adaptive questions, read your textbook, watch Kathy Parks and the other YouTuber that I mentioned, and you'll be good. There's Quizlets out there. Use those Quizlets. Do notes, do practice questions, because ATI is different from your nursing fundamentals textbook. But yeah, that's all I'm going to say regarding that. For me, I took my dosage calculation exam for fundamentals, but I'll probably include that in my how I study for farm video, because that's like more related. But I did pass my dosage calculation exam. How to study, like how I said, do practice questions, watch YouTube videos, read your textbook. Does your school provide you with PowerPoints? Download those, write notes, form a study guide with your classmates, trust me, so you can compare notes. I would say study 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks before your exam. Why? Because you want to make sure you're able to understand the material. And if you need to go over a certain chapter, then you have a couple days, to review that chapter, be able to look at YouTube videos, look at notes, whatever you need to do. Let me see right here. Do notes early before you study. Yes, so you want to make sure your notes are written before you study. Why? So when you study, you just read over your notes again. You do practice questions. If you have to watch YouTube videos, you watch those YouTube videos. Do more practice questions, and you'll be good. I said to use the Focus Keeper app. Don't cram 3 days before the exam. It's not worth it because you're going to be so stressed out, and then you're going to regret it, and you're going to tell yourself like, oh my god, why am I studying 3 days before the exam? Attend SI. So you want to make sure that if your school has SI, which is supplemental instructory, basically it's another nursing student that goes over the material, the lecture. She provides you with study guides, practice questions. Our SI leader was amazing. She helped us so much this whole entire semester. She would provide us with study guides, with practice questions, how to do a nursing care plan, how to study for the ATI proctored, give us like little hints, and she was amazing. So if you have SI, attend. Ours was before lectures, so I would have to get up earlier than usual. So do it. If she does reviews, exam reviews, go to them. She's going to be doing a practice proctored ATI. Go. Don't be lazy. I know we all have crazy schedules and stuff like that, but use outside resources. But yeah, you guys, that basically includes how I studied for fundamentals. I know this video was super long, but I had so much to say regarding how I studied for fundamentals, because I know it's not an easy class, and I know, this is like the first nursing class that you guys take, and you want to make sure that you do good in this class. So I'm hoping you guys found all those tips super helpful and I helped you out. If you do have any questions regarding fundamentals, then leave them down below in the comments, and I'll be more than happy, to reply to those comments. If you made it this far, thank you so much. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Follow me on Instagram, and if you haven't subscribed to my blog, I'll probably be including more freebies here and there. So, look out for that. But yeah, you guys, that is basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, you guys.